Good afternoon. It is Friday, November 4th, and I'm going to be doing a shortened version of my Columbia Heights test loop, where instead of going from home to my wife's work and back, we're just going to go from my wife's work to home. There's a particular spot coming right out of my wife's parking lot where the car would like to, it's got a wider shoulder. It treats it as if it's a lane. It's been a regression we've seen in the last few builds. That's persisted. I want to see, based on some of the path planning changes in 10.69.3, if that issue is still there or it's been resolved. So we're going to get started here shortly. I'm going to skip ahead until I'm at the spot where I'm going to activate FSD, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, we are just approaching Central Avenue here from the parking lot, and I'm turning FSD on. All right, so here's our spot. A little bit of a hesitation there, but as you can see there, it didn't use the shoulder this time. So some of the path planning changes, I think, made an impact there. It did hesitate, like it wanted to use it, but then it ultimately avoided it. So that was really cool to see. I want to go back actually, and I'm going to try to do this actually 2 more times just to see if that issue is for sure fixed. So again, I'm going to kind of just do a U-turn here and then skip back around, and then I will fast forward to where we're back at that same spot to test it again here for a second time, and then of course we'll do it a third time as well. So I'll see you right here in a sec. All right, so we are doing the second attempt here to see if the car will, avoid the shoulder. Again, this is a regression we've seen in the last couple builds now. So far, attempt number 1 passed. Let's see here, we're going to have to accelerate. So we are using the shoulder again, unfortunately. Let's see if the car is figuring it out. Yeah, and it's not going to. So I'm going to circle back. We'll try it one more time to see if that was indeed a fluke. And then we'll kind of go from there. So just bear with me. I'm going to do a U-turn here, and then we'll see how it goes for the third time here. All right, here we're back for attempt number 3 here. Now the first time we didn't really have any cars to our left. The second time we did, and that's where it failed. So we got quite a bit of traffic to our left here that we're going to have to deal with. So let's see what happens here. I would love for it to be a similar situation as we had the first time when it worked. So there's a little bit of a gap here, but there is a car coming here, so we're just kind of inching up a little bit. All right, we're going to have a gap here in a sec, so let's see if we take it. We waited kind of a little too long here. Now we're deciding to go, and again we're using the shoulder because there's a car there. So it seems that the car makes the right decision when there isn't a car coming at us. But unfortunately, it still tries to use that shoulder. So I'm going to continue to report that one. There was some hope, though. It's the first time it has done that right at all in several builds. I want to say since 10.10. And then obviously in 10.11, they made some pretty big changes to Planner and how it's picking its paths, and they've been tweaking it kind of ever since. And I know 69.3 is another pretty big update in that regard. So, there is some promise there. So, hopefully the minor releases, we're going to come back and test that with the 69.3.1 and beyond and see if, we see any differences there. But unfortunately for now, the issue is still pretty much there, although we had a glimmer of hope that it was fixed. But unfortunately, it still remains. So. All right, so we do have some road work up ahead. It looks like this lane is cleared, or is blocked or closed here. So let's see what the car does. It should be getting over here any second now. Awesome. Great job getting over and detecting that the lane was closed. I didn't wait too long, in my opinion. It's still trying to get over here, but it's figuring out that lane is still, fully closed. So we should remain in this lane then for the rest of the stretch of road here before we turn left onto 37th Avenue. A little bit of hesitation there as we get over to the turn lane. I would like to see the car go a little faster here, but I have so far not hit the throttle. If somebody was really behind us, I would have nudged it forward a little bit, but there was not, so I just let it be. All right, so the people ahead of us are kind of sleeping at the light there, so we're going to get an unprotected left turn here out of this. So looks like there's a bit of a gap of cars up here, so it should be pretty easy for FSD. And then this road that we're turning onto is unfortunately very, very rough. There's some big potholes and chunks of roadway that's not so great if you like to take care of your wheels. So I may be disengaging. I will call it out that I'm doing that for those reasons, but otherwise I'm going to try to let the car do its thing. All right, great reaction there. As soon as it was clear, the car made the attempt to go forward. So in previous builds it would wait a little bit too long there. So that's a great example right there of some of the latency improvements in terms of decision making that have been made in 69.3. It is very confident in those situations now where it just goes. When there's more cars, there's like say there's 2 oncoming lanes, that's where it still hesitates a little too much, but you're seeing improvements here. So again, as some of the regressions are in this build, as many as there are, there's been some really good things that we've seen as well. So, and then, as I've stated in previous videos, the speed limit, unfortunately, in my neighborhood, I continue to report it. It's been wrong for a long time. And yeah, the car likes to do 30 and a 20. So that really comes down to just map data. That unfortunately is very much out of date. Minneapolis changed their speed limit across the metro, or the city anyways, is the default of 20 miles per hour for streets like this several years back. So unfortunately the map data still shows it as 30 for most of these streets. So a little bit of hesitation here. It is clear we do have some occlusions to deal with though, so again, I'm not certain. We're in the middle of the road now. At this point you kind of have to commit, so I'm not sure why we're still hesitating. I understand why the car would want to be very cautious to peek around the parked cars, since traffic does not stop to our left and right. But again, we hesitate too much still at like 2-way stops and 4-way stops, especially when they're clear. The car still seems like it lacks some confidence in those situations. So, again, though, overall, we saw a glimmer of hope with the use of the shoulder back there on Central Avenue. The car did avoid it the first time. The second and third time, unfortunately, it still used it. And then, again, the latency reductions that we've seen with 69.3 are definitely welcome, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.